a quick review on Pressables. The Armand Gearbox company has designed all of these gadgets specifically to determine the correct height for placement. So when we have a plunger, the plunger is a predetermined height. This rod is a predetermined height. The paper ring is a predetermined height. So if you're doing a 200 milliliter ring, and if you remember I showed it to you that you set it at that point, and when the crowns are set on the base, and I set them in this place, the crowns can go no higher than that black line. Remember when we put them in place? So very short sprues, maybe 2-3 millimeters max, because remember, the plunger can only push the length of the plunger, right? So I said if I was going to push him, my arm's too short, I can't push him, right? So the plunger can't go any further than the length of the plunger. So it's critical that everything's at the same height. Even when we invested and we put the paper ring on and we dumped the investment in, we didn't know how much to dump in. That's why they designed this gadget. When this little gadget goes on top and you push it into place onto the ring, the extra investment squirts out the top. When it gets hard, I twist it, I break it away, and now the investment will be at the bottom of this plastic ring, okay? So it makes sure that the investment stops at the exact spot. So the crowns are sitting below the black line, the investment is above the black line, so everything is all predetermined, right? So we're up to this point already. So let's go with the oven now. We turned on the furnace a half hour ahead of time. Program number 18, the instructions are right here. You also have it in the Pentron book, right? So you can look at the book. We were going through the book. You also have it on a CD from Professor Cena, so don't say you don't have it. So now the machine's warmed up. I have it set on program 18. It's at 400 degrees Celsius, which is a starting point. It's set for a 58. We're at a 58 minute cycle. We're at, tell it one more time, thank you. We're at a 58 minute cycle. So now we're ready to start. We went into a hot oven at 1652, right? We didn't go in a cold oven, 1652. The investment took 13 minutes to harden, not an hour. It takes 13 minutes to harden. The paper ring bursts open. We crack off the top. We clean off the excess. We put it into a hot oven, 1652, 1 hour. It's ready to go. All right. So now we're ready to start. Open the machine. Make sure you have everything set. We weighed ahead of time. We weighed the 4 wax patterns. There's a calculation between the weight of the wax and the weight of the pellets. So 4 pressables equaled 4 wax ups equaled 2 pellets. These pellets are going for about $30 each. All right? So kind of expensive, right? We can't mess around with it. Okay, we have the rods, we have everything else.
$30 each.
Who has the, Jennifer had it. Stop for a second. The ceramic tongs, because just to pick up the pellets, I can't grab them with the casting tongs. All right, so the machine's set, it's at the low temperature, we're ready to go. Make sure the vacuum, the air is open, make sure everything's turned on, everything's plugged in, machine's ready to go. Okay. If you read the instructions, it tells you the first step, take the ring out, turn it over, drop the 2 pellets in place.
They go to the side, is there a problem?
Yeah. They have to go straight down, the plunger goes in, tap the plunger, God bless you. The plunger goes in. Now, by this sitting here, I just lost a couple hundred degrees. They recommend putting that back in the furnace for about 1 minute, just to warm it up again. Okay? So in about 1 minute, we're just stalling a little bit. This particular one, pellets are inside. Okay? So you know what it looks like, you drop it in place. Can somebody grab the one that's on my desk? The 4 crowns? They're up there somewhere. There's ones that we dug out this morning. Okay, so now I'm ready with this. Ready to start, everything's ready. Take it out. Put it in place. Everything has to be perfectly straight. Push the start button. Push the start button. Push the start button. Push the start button. The temperature should start going up. Let's make sure it's going up.
You're from a miscast.
Oh, I forgot this was your crown, isn't it? Right? So that's why it's not good. Come on, start.
We got new ones right
Come on, start. I don't know why it's not. Oh, there you go. Okay. I'm not going to answer the phone. So if you notice, it's already going up. It'll go up to about 600 degrees. Okay. Somebody pick up the phone. Answer it. Okay. If you look, if you look at the 4 crowns, what we did was, because they're all 4 centrals, they're almost identical. There were 4 students, so we labeled them number 1, 2, 3, 4. I put a little dot on the facial surface of each one. So if you look at the facial surface, if you remember which one you are, you'll know. We'll cut it off. Baum.
Bill Gates.
Baum. No. Tell him I'll call him back in 10 minutes.
Bill Gates.
Okay. No. All right. Look at the length of the screws. Everybody. Look here. Imagine that this was in place when it was wax. Can you see how it does not go higher than the paper ring? Okay, can't go higher than a paper ring, or what's going to happen when the plunger tries to push in, the plunger can't go any further than the length, right? So what'll happen is the pellets are in there and it's trying to push the porcelain, but it can't go any further. You will have a mispress, and you have holes in your crowns. All right, so this is ready. Let's see if it's up there yet. In a minute, it's going to ring. It's going to open it up. If you remember from your studies, T1 means the low temperature. Okay, so if you look in the book, definitely on your midterm exam, T1 is the start temperature. T2 is the high temperature. So I'm ready to go. Push start. It's going to close. You better close. The vacuum pump should come on in a minute. The temperature will start going up, and that's going to switch now. Look, it says VAC. All right. You hear the pump just came on, right? You got to pay attention in case something goes wrong. So T1 is the start temperature. It's now going to. The vacuum has now come on. The temperature is going up. T2 will be the high temperature, which takes 29 minutes, I think, 28 minutes. Once it reaches the high temperature, it takes 28 minutes to melt the porcelain. Then it takes 28 minutes to push the porcelain, to push it in. The heat rate, it's going up at 60 degrees Celsius per minute. The vacuum is on. You can hear the pump in the back running. H1 is the high temp before pressing. It'll then switch to H2, which means now it started the pressing. You can't see it because it's all happening inside. So the whole thing was 58 minutes, right? We're already, look at the timer, it's going backwards. We're down to 57 and a half minutes.
It's amazing.
So in 58 minutes, it's going to open it up, the alarm's going to ring, there is a fan to cool it off, the fan will start, it'll run for 10 minutes. You're going to hear a beeping sound telling you, that it's ready. You'll let it 10 minutes, then take it out of here, put it over on the cooling area, leave it there for 1 hour, and then we're going to break it open. The way we open this, oh my God. The way we open this, we can't bang it open with a mallet, right? No. We can't bang, we're going to shatter the glass. So what we do is we take the ring to the sandblaster, turn down the pressure, we blast the ring with aluminum oxide, we blast away all the investment, and at the end, here's what we're left with. Then we're going to cut it off with a separating disc. I'll hand you back the crowns. We're going to grind away anything that needs to be cut away. Then we'll clean it up in alcohol or steam. We're then going to lay a porcelain on top of the mamelons, and then we're going to fire it.
Beautiful.
And that's the press, okay? So make sure you go through the book, you understand it, because somebody's going to have it on their midterm exam. Right. Question, what does T1 stand for? What does T2 stand for? What's V? What's H? How many minutes? Guys, okay, real fast. The investment. How many minutes it take for the investment to hard?
13 minutes, not over 15.
13 minutes, not over 15, okay? Very crucial, right? You got to look at your watch. Then you take it, what's the temperature we start at in here? 1652. 1652, and then 1 hour to heat soak it. All right, this is called a rapid burnout. So it's not 1 hour, it's 13 minutes. It's not a cold oven, it's 1652. All right, so it's a rapid burnout. We can do this really fast if we get it down. Okay, so there you go.
What's the T1 temperature?
Any more questions? T1, look at the book, start temperature. T1. When I first started this and I turned it on, it said T1, okay? Now it's going up.
What was the
look now, it's on R. What's R stand for? The heat rate. So it's going up at 60 degrees Celsius per minute, a 200-gram ring. So make sure you know this chart, and also, the proportion chart. Does anybody remember when we were investing before? In a 200-gram ring, We had 200 grams of powder. We had 48 milliliters of special liquid. We had 6 milliliters of water. If you throw this off, it's going to affect the expansion of the ring, which affects the fit of the crown, right? So make sure you know this chart. Make sure you know how many minutes, 13 minutes, not to exceed 15. Make sure you know what the codes stand for. And then you're ready to go.
So we play.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Not open.
Now that the program is finished, the muffle will automatically open by itself. At least it's supposed to open by itself. Once the let's stop it. Once the muffle opens, we can take the crown out. It'll come by itself. The alarm will ring. The fan will go on for 10 minutes. To stop the alarm from ringing, push the escape button. If you forget, just read very simple instructions. It tells you exactly what to do. Even on the screen, it tells you what to do. So if you remember, the plunger was sticking up when we first put this in an hour ago. The plunger was sticking up much higher. But now the porcelain pellets have been melted. It took half the time, so it took 29 minutes, I think, to melt the porcelain. Then it took about 29 minutes for the plunger to push the porcelain. It does not melt it like water. It melts it like pancake syrup. It's a very gooey mixture. It slowly forces it down inside the ring. So now we're going to take the ring, put it on the side for 1 hour, turn off the ovens. We don't need them. And then if you want, here, let's go with an idea of what it should look like. Here's another ring that was done previously. So if you notice, the plungers are sitting at the same height, so you know everything worked out. A little while ago, I took this to the sandblaster, and I blasted a hole through the center. So the reason I did that, I just want to see that the teeth are really there, that it worked out. So at this point, what I can do is I can go to the sandblaster, blast away everything, and literally just lift this out. I don't need to blast the sides. All I need to do is blow a hole through here, blow a hole through the other side, and then just pull this right out of the top, finish blasting it, and here's my 4 crowns. Very sensitive material. Remember, glass is a very poor conductor of heat. If one part of the crown gets hot, the other part will not get hot. And remember, when something gets hot, what happens? It expands. If one part of the tooth expands and the other part doesn't expand, what's going to happen? Crack, right? It's like if you took a coffee cup and you put it in a flame, one part of the cup stays cold, the other part of the cup gets hot, right? Crack, right? It'll shatter. The same thing's going to happen here. When we take the separating disc to cut this off, the separating disc is going to generate heat. We have to be very, very careful and cut very slowly to generate no heat. If we generate heat, the glass is going to shatter. There is no repair. We start over. We do the whole thing over again. All right, so also it should be irrigated. Irrigated means it should be used with water. We're going to keep a bowl of water with a handpiece. We're going to grind very, very low speed. We're going to cut it off. We're going to grind down the stumps. And that's why we cut back the wax up. We did a full contour wax up. Then we cut down the incisor. We cut back the mesial and distal. We shaped the mamelons in wax. The reason we did it in wax, if I try to do it now, what's going to happen? It's going to generate heat. The crown's going to crack. So we did it in wax. So all we have to do now, because you did very nice wax up, we're going to clean it up. We're going to cut it off. Any little rough spots on the margins, we'll clean that up. We'll fit the crown, lightly clean it up with alcohol or steam it, and then we're going to do the overlay. There's a special porcelain. This comes from the Pentron Ceramic Company. Every company has a different coefficient of thermal expansion, okay? We can't mix and match. It's like trying to take parts from a Ford and put them into a Chevy. They're not going to fit. It's not going to work, okay? So you have to use the same product. So if we used here, we use Pentron plungers, we have Pentron pellets, okay? They have a certain expansion, a coefficient of thermal expansion. We're going to use Pentron porcelain. We're going to lay Pentron porcelain on top of the Pentron pellets in the ceramic furnace, bake it, and if you do it correctly, you're going to get this done in 1 bake, maybe 2 at most. You're not going back in the oven 10 more times. But on the other ones, on your PFMs, you may go in that oven literally 10 times till you get a good tooth. Here, if you do it correctly, you're going to go in 1 time. All right, so this is pretty much done. So these are the first 4 lucky campers.